We get passes.
You're donating your time, right? No, that's a great question. CIF gives us passes for board members so that you can attend all, it doesn't apply for playoffs, but league events. You and a guest.
Is Caitlin there?
Give it one more minute. Are we live?
Hey, Tom, this is Phil. Do you hear us? You just muted. There you go. Hello, Tom. Can you hear us? Hey, Tom, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
All right, we do hear you. Thank you very much.
Perfect.
Good, good.
Caitlin never made connection?
Whenever you're ready.
Of the Chico Unified School District Board of Education. And before we begin tonight, I'd like to say a few words and ask for a moment of silence, because the Chico Unified School District has lost another life recently. The school site, the district, and our larger Chico community are working to prevent other such tragedies while also continuing to mourn. We all are deeply saddened by the tremendous losses our school community has suffered this year. While there are no words to fill such a deep void, I would ask the community to join me in a moment of silence to celebrate the lives of the students and staff we have lost. And please keep their friends and family close at heart. Thank you. And now if you'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This evening's meeting is a short one with just two items on the agenda. It's kind of paperwork to meet timelines for the state of California. And our first item is the approval of our compliance items for Absb 86. And it entails a number of different actions that have been taken. And tonight, Mr. Hanlon will be explaining what we've done and what the board will be approving.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. Approximately 2 weeks ago, Absb 86 was approved by the legislature and signed by the governor. And it provided for almost $12 million in funding for Chico Unified School District to be used for opening schools or keeping schools open for things like staffing, cleaning and sanitization, training supplies, social distancing costs, mental health support, tutorial support, and other things along those lines. So we've gotten, as has been typical throughout the pandemic from the state, we've gotten mixed messages on what needs to be approved and what doesn't. We have been told specifically that the items that we're bringing forward to you needed to be approved by April 1st, and consequently, we've been told that all we need to do is apply for the funds. So in an abundance of caution, we're bringing this to you to make sure that there's no, we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's to make absolutely sure by April 1st, all the things that have been on the list that are required are approved by the board so that we have access, because $12 million is a lot of money. So we bring before you the 2021 Chico School District Plan to reopen schools. Also, we've included the MOU for CUTA for both the traditional learning model, but also the AMPM, which we currently are operating under, and then also the CSEA MOU for the AMPM model that we are currently operating under. Additionally, we're also bringing to you the COVID-19 Prevention Program Safety Plan for the district office, the corporation yard, and all 19 school sites. All those plans are posted on the websites at each of the school sites, but also the district website as well. Matter of fact, all these items are. So I'm bringing these forward. We're bringing these forward to the board for approval to meet the April 1st deadline. Any questions?
Board members, does anyone have a question? Mr. Landau or Caitlin, either of you have questions on what we're about to approve? I see nods no. That's next. Yeah, we do have one. We have someone who has indicated they'd like to have public comment before the board takes action.
So, as we mentioned earlier, Mr. Shepherd was unable to be with us this evening, and so I'd like to thank Phil Morgan for working the phone this evening. And if we're ready, he can go ahead and call our speaker. Thank you, Mr. Morgan.
I'm contacting Addison Franks, a Chico Unified School District student.
Is this Addison? Hi, Addison. My name is Phil Morgan. I'm at the board meeting. Ready to address the board? Yes, are you prepared to address the board? I'm going to put you on speakerphone. You'll have 3 minutes to share with them. Yes, it's down. You have it down till tonight's card. Okay, I will let them know. And just go ahead and please have her resubmit for next week. All right, thank you.
Okay, Addison had indicated that that was for next week's meeting that she would like to send in the speaker card, so she will have that re-inputted for next week.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Okay, board, do we have anyone who'd like to initiate an action on this item? Dr. Kaiser?
I'd like to move the passage of the approval of the compliance items for Absb 86 funding.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Tennis. Okay. Board members online on Zoom, do either of you have any additional information, questions?
This time.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Okay, I'd like to call for the vote, and let's make this a by name vote. Landau,
Lando, aye.
Caitlin,
Caitlin Dalby, aye.
Dr. Kaiser,
Dr. Kaiser, aye.
Mr. Tennis,
Tennis, aye.
Robinson, aye. Thank you, Board. That's unanimous. Our next item is also along this same line. It's the certification that we're going to spend, the compliance certification that we're going to spend the remaining funds that have to be spent by, I'll turn it over to Mr. Baltum because I suddenly can't find the date.
Certainly, not a problem. So this agenda item is also brought to you in an abundance of caution. As Jim mentioned, AB 86 was really passed on March 4th, a day after our last board meeting. And one of the provisions in the language extended the date in which the original coronavirus relief funds, known as the CRF funds, those are the dollars that we used at the beginning of this year, extended the deadline which it had to be spent from March 1st of 2021 to May 31st of 2021. But we did need to certify that we would be in compliance with the funding. We didn't know what that meant at the time, so we actually created a certification form for the board and are asking you to take action this evening. We report our quarterly expenditure of these dollars, and so we will certify in that quarterly reporting mechanism that we are in compliance. So again, this is an abundance of caution, and we would have it on file in case the auditors actually asked for this document.
So Kevin, it says in the title, "We certify the expenditures by March 31st of this year." On the paper.
May
Correct.
31st.
So we have not, exactly, we have not sent in the quarterly reporting for March 31st.
Oh,
So we are telling you as a board that we will in fact spend the remaining balance of $294,000 as of December 30th.
okay.
We will have spent those by March 31st. Now, again, the deadline was extended to May 30th, and for the board's comfort, we can bring you back that final quarterly report for March 31st to show you that we have in fact spent all the funds and have certified compliance. But again, in an abundance of caution, we're asking the board to go through a certification and then sign the document so we have it available for our auditors.
So actually, the final remainder has to be spent by May 30th.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, my indication is we have no request for public comment, so is there any additional questions by any of the board members? Do I have a motion?
I move the passage of the 2.2.1, certification of expenditures current by March 31st, and then the remainder by May 30th, 2021.
Thank you, Dr. Kaiser. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Landau seconded. Thank you, Mr. Landau. Okay, board members, all those in favor of passage of the certification of spending the money, certify or indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
I see you waving, Caitlin. Thank you. Passes unanimously. Okay, it's, according to my agenda, that is the extent of the business we had to take care of to make sure we're in compliance with everything.
Yes, I'd like to thank the board for a quick meeting. All of these items were already in play and have been utilized since we reopened in October for in-person learning. But again, as Mr. Hanlon mentioned, it's just an abundance of caution to ensure that we have everything in place when the state asks for documentation. So thank you for your time. It's really appreciated.
Oh, hi, Dalby number 2. She's so adorable. Oh,
Really, wow.
thank you, board. And, you know, when the state provides us with roulette wheels and we never know which compliance thing they're going to sit on, this is our way of making sure that we do like Superintendent Staley said, crossing our Ts, dotting our Is. Thank you, board. The meeting is adjourned.